Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about 7 early warning signs of dementia most people ignore. Subtle changes often show up years before a formal diagnosis, and spotting them early can be the difference between maintaining independence and facing unnecessary decline. The problem is that we shrug many of these signs off as just getting older, a forgotten appointment, a misplaced wallet, mood shifts, when they can actually signal real brain changes. The solution is simple. Learn the specific clues that matter, how they differ from normal aging, and what to do the moment you notice them. First, I'll walk you through each sign with clear examples, quick questions to take to a doctor, and practical steps you can start this week to protect brain health. By the end, you'll be able to spot warning lights in a loved one or yourself, document what you see, and move from worry to action with confidence. If you want to keep someone you love safer and sharper, stay with me. Let's begin. 1. Subtle changes in short-term memory. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about how early problems forming and holding on to new information often go unnoticed until they interfere with daily life. Many people assume misplaced keys or missed appointments are just aging, but difficulty learning something new or remembering a recent conversation can be an early, specific warning sign. These changes typically affect short-term recall, what you learned minutes or hours ago, while older memories remain intact. That pattern is important because it helps distinguish routine forgetfulness from something that deserves medical attention. The problem is easy to miss. A person may repeat a question during the same visit, forget a name they were just introduced to, or need the same instructions repeated when assembling a device. Short, everyday examples make the issue clear. Someone who used to remember a new recipe after making it once now needs the recipe card every time. A partner who asks about dinner plans twice in an evening. A driver who misses a turn because they forgot the most recent directions. These are concrete behaviors that, when they start happening often or in new contexts, signal a change in how recent experiences are encoded and retrieved. A practical solution begins with tracking and communication. Keep a short, time-stamped log for 2 weeks noting each episode, what was forgotten, where it happened, and whether there were distractions, poor sleep, or medication changes. Bring that log to your primary care clinician. Many reversible issues mimic short-term memory problems: poor sleep, hearing loss, depression, thyroid dysfunction, vitamin B12 deficiency, and certain medications, especially those with strong anticholinergic effects, can all undermine new learning. A clinician can screen for these, review prescriptions, and, if needed, refer for cognitive testing or a specialist evaluation. Details matter when deciding next steps. Neurocognitive testing focuses on the ability to learn and recall new information. It will often show a gap between recent memory and long-term recall when short-term encoding is impaired. Everyday strategies help immediately. Use a single, visible family calendar for appointments. Set phone alarms labeled with specific actions. Write step-by-step checklists for routines like bill paying or medication management. Simple environmental changes reduce cognitive load. Keep keys in one bowl, place a daily wallet checklist by the door, and limit multitasking when learning something new. Social supports also help. Ask a trusted friend or family member to gently note repeated questions or missed steps, and to bring those examples to medical visits. Integration turns awareness into habit. Start small. Add a nightly 2-minute review to write down 3 things you did that day and any times you felt forgetful. Combine that with sleep hygiene and a short walk, because physical activity and good rest improve attention and memory encoding. If a clinician recommends a cognitive screen, follow through sooner rather than later. Early detection opens access to practical therapies, medication reviews, and structured cognitive training that can slow decline or address reversible causes. Finally, act on concerns, document, talk to a clinician, and adapt routines, because early recognition of short-term memory changes gives you and your family the best chance to respond effectively. Schedule an appointment, bring concrete examples, and start the diary tonight. 2. Difficulty with familiar daily tasks. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about how routine activities that used to be automatic can gradually become confusing and unsafe. Difficulty performing familiar tasks is often an early, overlooked sign of cognitive decline. People may still know what to do in general, but struggle to complete the steps in the right order or adapt when something changes. Small errors become more frequent. A person who has cooked the same recipe for years might forget key steps, skip ingredients, or burn food because they left the stove on. Problems show up in predictable ways. Sequencing breaks down. Putting shoes on before trousers, or adding salt instead of sugar when following a recipe. Motor planning problems, known as apraxia, make it hard to use tools that were once second nature. A person might fumble with the zipper on a jacket or be unable to operate a familiar phone or remote control. Executive dysfunction affects planning and attention. So paying bills, following multi-step grooming routines, or assembling a familiar piece of furniture can suddenly take much longer or stop entirely. Visual spatial difficulties may cause trouble with parking in a usual spot or navigating the house at night. Concrete examples help clarify what to watch for. A retired teacher who used to grade papers every evening might leave tasks unfinished, misplace worksheets, or repeatedly ask how to log into an email account she's used for years. A longtime driver may get turned around on a route they once drove daily, or struggle to follow GPS directions combined with mirror checks. Laundry provides another common sign: sorting clothes incorrectly, washing delicates with heavy items, or forgetting items in the washer for days. These are not simply bad days. They represent consistent changes in how familiar sequences are executed. There are practical steps that reduce risk and support independence. Simplify and label. Clear, visible labels on cabinets, drawers, and appliance buttons reduce errors. Break complex tasks into single, written steps posted nearby. Short checklists work better than long instructions. Use technology to automate where possible. Automatic bill pay, medication dispensers that lock and signal when it's time, and stove shut-off devices to prevent fires. Occupational therapy is effective at retraining task strategies and recommending adaptive tools. At the same time, document specific incidents, what happened, when, and how often, and bring that log to the primary care clinician for evaluation. Integrating supports early preserves safety and dignity. Start with low-effort adjustments and increase support as needed. Family members can maintain routines while stepping in gently when sequences fail. If familiar tasks become unpredictable or dangerous, seek a medical assessment focused on cognition and daily function, and request an occupational therapy referral. Act now. Keep a brief incident diary for 2 weeks and schedule a primary care visit to discuss the patterns you've observed. 3. Confusion regarding time and place. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about a subtle but powerful warning sign many people miss. When someone begins to lose their sense of time and place. Loss of orientation often shows up as small, repeated slips at first, missing the day of the week, thinking it's morning when it's actually evening, or asking where they are while standing in their own kitchen. Those moments can feel awkward and are sometimes blamed on stress or fatigue, but when they become frequent or progressive, they signal a real problem that deserves attention. People commonly describe episodes where a loved one arrives at a familiar appointment on the wrong day, or drives slowly and nervously because the neighborhood looks unfamiliar. One person might call at lunchtime convinced they've already had dinner. Another might wander down the hallway and ask whether they are at home or in a hotel. Short-term memory lapses are part of normal aging, but persistent disorientation to time or place, especially when it affects safety, such as getting lost near the house, is not. Acute changes, like sudden confusion after an illness or medication change, can be delirium and need immediate medical review. Gradual, consistent shifts in orientation are more characteristic of dementia conditions such as Alzheimer's or vascular cognitive impairment. There are practical steps families and clinicians can use right away to reduce risk and improve day-to-day functioning. Place a large, easy-to-read clock with the day and date in common areas. Use a whiteboard or digital calendar with clear labels for appointments and routines. GPS-enabled devices and simple phone apps can help if someone is prone to becoming disoriented while walking or driving. At home, create consistent landmarks. Keep furniture and rugs in familiar positions, label doors, for example, kitchen or bedroom, and maintain a predictable daily structure so time cues, like meals and TV shows, reinforce orientation naturally. When reorienting someone, Use short, calm phrases. Say the time, the place, and a comforting fact about why they are there rather than arguing or quizzing. Caregivers should track patterns and document specific examples to share with a healthcare provider. Know what happened, what time it occurred, whether it resolved, and any triggers like illness, sleep deprivation, or new medications. In clinic, physicians will look for differences between normal lapses and pathological disorientation by testing orientation to person, place, and time, and by reviewing medicines, vision, hearing, and overall health. Integrating simple tools into daily life, clocks, calendars, labeled spaces, routine, and technology, plus good communication with clinicians can slow safety risks and improve quality of life for both the person affected and their family. If you notice repeated or worsening problems with knowing the time or whereabouts, make an appointment with your primary care doctor and bring a written log of examples. Early evaluation makes a difference. It uncovers treatable causes, guides safety planning, and opens the door to supportive resources. Keep a list, act early, and reach out for help. 4. New struggles with vocabulary and writing. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about how subtle changes in language and writing can be an early, overlooked sign that something more serious is happening in the brain. People often dismiss an occasional tip of the tongue moment, but when those moments become frequent and affect everyday communication, that's a red flag. Difficulty finding common words, substituting vague terms like thing or that, or writing sentences that lose their meaning are not just frustrating. They can interfere with work, relationships, and safety. The problem usually starts small and then creeps into daily life. A person might pause mid-sentence, search for a name, and then describe the person instead of naming them. Or they may write an email with repeated words, missing verbs, or sentences that trail off. Reading comprehension can suffer too. Following a recipe or understanding a newspaper article becomes harder. These changes differ from normal aging where you briefly can't pull up a word but recover quickly. Here the interruptions are more frequent and the recovery is slower or incomplete. There are concrete steps that help and help quickly. First, get a medical evaluation to rule out reversible causes such as medication side effects, depression, thyroid problems, or vitamin B12 deficiency. Ask your doctor about a cognitive screening test like the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, MoCA, or a full neuropsychological evaluation when language problems begin to affect function. Speech-language pathologists can assess specific deficits and design targeted exercises to improve word retrieval, sentence construction, and written expression. Practice and environmental adjustments make a real difference. Keep a daily journal to maintain writing fluency. Write short, structured entries and gradually increase complexity. Use naming games and category fluency drills. For example, list as many kitchen items as you can in 1 minute. Read aloud regularly. That boosts both vocabulary and sentence flow. Simplify communication by reducing background noise, giving extra time during conversations, and allowing written cues or labeled notes for tasks. For writing tasks, draft in stages. Outline, short sentences, then edit for clarity. If you notice these patterns in yourself or a loved one, collect specific examples to share with your clinician. A dated list of missed names, confusing emails, or written instructions that went wrong is very useful. Early intervention preserves function and gives you more options. Therapy, lifestyle changes like regular social conversation and reading, and managing health problems that worsen cognition. Talk to your primary care doctor. Ask for a cognitive screen, and consider a referral to speech therapy. Small, consistent steps now can protect communication and preserve independence. 5. Misplacing items and losing the ability to retrace steps. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about subtle memory changes that show up when everyday objects go missing and the person can no longer reconstruct what they did. Misplacing keys, glasses, a wallet, or a phone happens to everyone now and then, but there is a clear difference when those lapses become a recurring pattern. Items turn up in illogical places, and the person cannot mentally replay the steps that led to their disappearance. That inability to retrace actions, not just forgetting where something is, but losing the sequence of events, is one of the early cognitive red flags clinicians watch for, especially in conditions like Alzheimer's disease. People who are simply distracted or busy usually remember later and can say, "Oh, first left my glasses on the nightstand." With the kind of misplacement tied to dementia, the explanation is often vague, defensive, or missing altogether. Examples are telling: a wallet found inside a kitchen drawer that had nothing to do with the last activity, car keys discovered in the laundry basket, or medication placed in a cookie jar. Short-lived absent-mindedness involves a mental backtrack that typically works. The problematic pattern involves an inability to perform that backtrack reliably. This subtle change gradually increases frustration, embarrassment, and sometimes conflict at home when items are blamed on others. Practical solutions can reduce the frequency and the stress while you watch for patterns. Create a consistent home base for essential items. A bowl or hook by the door for keys, a dedicated shelf for glasses, a labeled box for loose papers, and make it part of the daily routine to place those items there. Use visual aids, a whiteboard checklist near exits, color-coded bins, or simple printed labels on drawers. Technology helps too. Small Bluetooth trackers like Tile or similar devices and smartphone photos of where items are placed provide rapid recovery with minimal cognitive load. Another effective technique is verbalization while you place something down. Say aloud, "First I'm putting my keys in the blue bowl by the door," which reinforces memory through auditory and motor cues. If you want to strengthen the ability to retrace steps, teach a systematic habit that feels natural. Pause for a moment after completing a small task, mentally walk through the sequence, and look for environmental cues: what you touched, which door you passed, what the surface looked like. When someone does lose an item, try a calm, step-by-step walkthrough together. Revisit the last known activity, check logical locations, and retrace the path physically if possible. Keep a simple log of repeated incidents. Note what was misplaced, where it was eventually found, and what activity preceded the loss. That record is useful for your own pattern spotting and invaluable to clinicians evaluating cognitive change. Concrete examples matter far more than vague complaints. Integrate these approaches into everyday life to reduce harm and build evidence for evaluation if needed. Declutter surfaces to limit hiding places. Involve family or caregivers in establishing routines, and make a habit of attaching practical aids like trackers or labels to high-value items. If misplacing items becomes frequent, interferes with daily tasks, or occurs alongside other changes in language, judgment, or daily functioning, mention these episodes to your primary care clinician and bring your log in examples. Start today by picking one small change. Designate a single spot for keys or stick a tracker on your wallet, and observe whether incidents decline. If the problem persists, get a professional assessment. Early recognition creates the best chance to manage symptoms and plan ahead. 6. Changes in mood and personality. Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Smith, and today first I'm going to tell you about subtle shifts in mood and behavior that often go unnoticed yet can be early indicators of neurodegenerative change. These alterations are not just grumpiness or normal aging. They can reflect changes in brain circuits that regulate emotion, judgment, and social conduct. Early recognition matters because mood and personality changes sometimes appear before obvious memory problems, and addressing them promptly opens the door to evaluation, treatment of reversible factors, and better planning. People commonly dismiss irritability, apathy, or withdrawal as stress or temperament. That's the problem. When a cheerful, engaged person becomes withdrawn and uninterested in hobbies, or a mild-mannered individual grows unusually blunt or impulsive, family members often attribute it to stress or getting old. Short bursts of anger, increasing suspiciousness, loss of empathy, impulsivity, or risk-taking can all occur. In some forms of dementia, particularly frontotemporal types, these personality shifts are among the earliest and most prominent signs because they reflect frontal lobe dysfunction. Other dementias can produce mood symptoms too, but the pattern and timing vary. The solution begins with careful observation and documentation. Keep a simple log noting specific behaviors, when they occur, and any possible triggers. For example, on Monday, refused to attend book club and yelled at friend for no clear reason, or has lost interest in cooking and seems indifferent to family visits. Bring these concrete examples to a primary care provider. Clinicians will typically evaluate for reversible causes such as depression, medication side effects, sleep disturbance, thyroid dysfunction, vitamin B12 deficiency, or infections, and may recommend cognitive testing, blood work, and brain imaging or referral to a neurologist or geriatric psychiatrist if warranted. Details matter when describing what you see. A person with apathy may sit for hours and stop initiating conversations, while someone with disinhibition might make sexually inappropriate comments or use coarse language in public. Anxiety and mood swings can present as repeated questioning, clinginess, or sudden tearfulness. Loss of empathy often shows as insensitivity to others' feelings or missing social cues. Practical caregiver examples. Instead of directly confronting a false belief, acknowledge the emotion and gently redirect. First, can see you're upset. Let's do something calming together. If the individual becomes aggressive, prioritize safety, remove potential hazards, and seek immediate medical help if there is danger to self or others. Integration into daily life means adapting routines, communication, and supports to reduce stress and preserve dignity. Establish predictable schedules, simplify choices, and use short, clear sentences. Encourage activities that match current abilities, gardening with tasks broken into steps, music that evokes positive memories, or short walks. Coordinate with pharmacists to review medications that may worsen mood or cognition. Regular sleep, gentle exercise, and social interaction often help mood, and treating coexisting depression or anxiety can improve both well-being and cognitive testing performance. Act now. Make an appointment, bring your written examples, and ask the clinician to assess mood, medications, and possible reversible causes, and to consider specialist referral if needed. If behavior changes include severe agitation, suicidal thoughts, or dangerous impulsivity, seek urgent medical evaluation. Early attention gives you options, medical, behavioral, and planning, and can change the course of care for the person you love. If you've noticed any of these warning signs, memory lapses that affect daily life, trouble planning or solving problems, difficulty finishing familiar tasks, confusion about time or place, problems with vision or spatial awareness, new struggles finding words, or noticeable changes in mood or personality, don't ignore them. The problem is simple and urgent. Small, early changes often get dismissed until they become serious. The solution is equally simple. Early recognition, documentation, and a timely doctor's visit can make a big difference in treatment options and planning. Quick recap. The 7 signs to watch for are memory loss impacting daily activities, planning or problem-solving difficulties, trouble completing familiar tasks, disorientation with time or place, visual/spatial problems, new language troubles, and shifts in mood or behavior. Start by tracking incidents in a notebook, ask a trusted family member to share observations, and bring your notes to your primary care doctor to request cognitive screening. Complement medical follow-up with brain-healthy habits, regular exercise, quality sleep, a Mediterranean-style diet, mental challenges, and social engagement, and consider connecting with support groups and legal/financial advisors early. First, know this feels worrying, and you're not alone. First, seeing how early action helps families gain control and plan with dignity. If this video helped, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Leave a comment with questions or experiences you want me to address. Next time, first I'll walk you through how to have a compassionate conversation with a loved one about memory concerns and the first practical steps to take. If you're concerned right now, contact your doctor. Early steps matter. Thanks for watching. First, I'm Dr. Greg Smith. See you in the next video.